So your infrastructure, what you've got on your ranch and what people are looking for. This was one fine ranch house, and they called it the bunkhouse, and I didn't know what to think of the bunkhouse. Sometimes y'all call bunkhouses what we would call luxury homes. You know, so sometimes your bunkhouse is a small little name for something that's really nice. They built this bunkhouse. You notice the electrical outlets? See these? They had this bar built, and the bar ended up having 7 or 8 electrical outlets all the way across it. That means that my group could set up all their laptops right in a row, and I could just walk along those bar stools and do all my teaching. And as we were downloading our pictures, one of the joys photographers have is downloading their pictures and then turning that laptop around and going, look at this. This is so cool. We got to the point on one workshop recently where we were seeing how many of the eyelashes on Roadrunners we could count. And so we were down to taking such darn good pictures, and everybody was doing it, that we were down to how many eyelashes on a Roadrunner we could count. And it became this challenge. Okay, I'm going to go back out and see how many more eyelashes I can get. But that was this brotherhood and this fellowship that was built because these people had this bar with all of these electrical outlets on it. The lady in the burgundy there, she's our cook. The ranch owner brought in a cook for us. And then we told them what we wanted them to buy. We sent them a shopping list. She bought everything. She prepared all of our meals. And this was all included in the cost that I charged the people. So they didn't see anything except we had our own individual cook. And it was a good experience. So your infrastructure, your ability to place us in one location really does help out. Classrooms. There are some of the workshop leaders that like a classroom, and we're starting to see more of this on ranches. And this is where we actually have a classroom, where you put in a projector, you put in a laptop, and then we can use that projector to show the pictures. Now, this seems like a lot, but if you end up doing a lot of this, then this just becomes one more added benefit. This is a place where we can go on our own as a group. We can put down all of our equipment. We can make a big mess in there. And then in the event that we have rain or something like that, then we can go in there and start working around. And so tables and that type of stuff. Think about room security. My camera gear alone in my bag is running, my camera bag's probably running about $21,000. That's how much I carry with me at any given time. So you've got to think about security for these camera bags. And most of the time we're going to be fine on your ranches. And then think about what we're going to be able to photograph and where we're going to be able to photograph it. People go gaga over wood ducks. Any of the duck species, people go absolutely crazy over. So if you've got wintering ducks where we can access them. So then think about that infrastructure as those photo blinds, but then we've also got that backside infrastructure of those facilities that you might also have. For your infrastructure, have a seasonal list of what are the possibilities. In March, these are the possible birds and wildlife that we could see. In April, these are the possible birds and wildlife we can see. That might take you a year to build, and it might be worthwhile if you brought in somebody from the local Audubon Society and allowed them access to your property every year or at certain times of the year so that they could tell you what species of birds you have at any given time or what species of butterflies you have at any certain time or mammals you've got at any certain times. Be sure to set your rules and your policies and procedures and make sure that they're in writing. Set your payment schedules. Make sure that those are in writing also, what your refund policies are going to be. Your contingencies in the event that the photo leader gets sick or you get sick. If you're planning to be there for that whole weekend and cook and do everything else that the group needs, what happens if you get sick or you have something that happens in your life? Who's going to be your backup contingency for that? And liability releases. These have become very standard. I'm sure if you've already got hunters on your property that you're used to the liability releases. But make sure that you get those. And nobody has any problem signing those now, so they're pretty good. If I know that photo blinds on your property were designed by, I'm more likely to bring a group to your property. Designed by one of the professional photographers who is helping to design photo blinds. And so if you don't know who those are, then you can contact me and I'll tell you who those are. But Larry Ditto in the Rio Grande Valley, for instance, is doing that. Steve Benson is doing that. They will charge you. But then you can say that these photo blinds were designed by. And that's really nice because then I know that, oh, okay, that's Steve's design or that's Larry's design. So if I know that these blinds have been designed by somebody that knows what they're doing and they've been placed in the appropriate place, then I know that I don't have to worry about these blinds at all. So this really, really helps out. Or that they are certain types of blinds. We have sunken blinds, so you're shooting straight across the water, And then my friend in North Carolina, his blinds are raised, but then all the area outside of it is raised too, so you're shooting straight across at that also. Some things to think about. What happens if somebody says they want their money back and they hated it? They've never seen anything that bad in their entire life, and they were totally disappointed, and they want their money back. What happens? What do you do? And so you got to think about that. It's never happened to me, luckily, but you know what happens if you do? Special dietary restrictions, medication requirements. Some people need to bring their medication with them. It needs to stay cool or refrigerated. Are you going to allow smoking or not smoking? Personally, I prefer that it be a non-smoking environment completely. Do you allow drinking during the day, during the shooting day? So at lunchtime, for instance, is it okay to serve people beer or wine if they're going to go back out and shoot? Shooting with a camera drunk is probably not as bad as shooting with a gun drunk, and so for me it really doesn't matter one way or the other. And I feel if people want a beer or wine at lunch and the landowner's fine with that, I'm perfectly fine with it as well. And so just figure out what it's going to be. Do they drive their own vehicles, or once they get to the ranch, do you put them in one of the ranch vehicles? Do you want people driving their vehicles around your ranch? Just remember that they probably rented some little teeny weeny dinky car at the car rental place that doesn't have very good tires. And do you really want to go out there and try to get them when they lock their keys in the car, or when they have a dead battery or a flat tire? First time I went to a ranch, I got 2 flat tires in a weekend because my tires just weren't set up for ranch life. And then also, do you allow non-photography companions? I like non-photography companions. We're in a closed-door room. I like them because they pay full fare, and it's just one more person on the trip. So I like non-photography companions. I'll take a wife or a husband who just wants to come and sit on the porch and read all day long. And what the ranch owners will many times tell me is we are busy. We are preparing lunch. We are cleaning up and that type of thing. Do not expect us to entertain. And I'll tell the person that. Don't expect to be entertained, and that's fine. They'll bring their book. They'll sit on the porch. They'll enjoy themselves all day long. And so a non-photography companion, cool, as long as they pay. I'll take them. So how do you advertise these things? Do you put up a billboard someplace that tells people to call the 1-800 number, or do you post your husband out at tourist locations around the world with a sign on his belly? Okay, how do you advertise these places? You can run ads in Outdoor Photographer. That's probably the #1 place I would recommend that you run ads, is an Outdoor Photographer. Farm and Ranch and some of the other magazines you might, but if you think about it, that's not such a targeted audience. The ads in Outdoor Photographer, if you buy a copy of the magazine and start flipping through it, there's a lot of ads in there. But these ads really pay off. It is amazing how many photographers want to go someplace different to photograph, and they want something that they've seen. There's a lot of photographers also that are willing to copy. They don't care. Yosemite Falls has been photographed 50 jillion times over the last 50 years, and they're willing to go and stand in the exact same spot somebody else went and take the exact same picture. It's never going to look the same, but they're willing to go there for that experience. And so many people are willing to say, I want that big buck photograph. And sideline, since I mentioned bucks, if you're going to advertise those photography of the deer, many times you're going to end up having to take that person out individually as opposed to an entire group of people, because that buck's just not going to let you get close to them. So you can piggyback advertising, camera stores, photo forums. If you don't know about photo forums, there are 4 or 5 photo forums on the web: photomigrations.net, naturescapes.net, naturephotographers.net. And these are places where photographers go and they hang out. Texas Photo Forum, same thing, where people go and hang out. And so that's a good place for you to do that too. And then all the camera clubs. So working your list, you get this list, you start developing this mailing list, you start getting inquiries coming in to your website. Keep in touch from event to event. Answer emails and calls immediately, because they'll book someplace else if you don't call them back immediately. Use referrals, and then if somebody's a pain in the butt, drop them off your list. Just never send anything to them again. Completely ignore them. Pre-trip success, make sure you touch base with people, send them directions, send them maps. I find if you send people more stuff than they know what to do with, they feel better than if you don't send them anything at all. So send them directions, send them maps, ask for special diets, ask what time they're going to arrive, tell them what kind of clothes to wear. These become routine after a while, and you can just send them out to your leader.